everybody, and welcome back to the game room. I've gotten a lot of requests recently for a new game room tour. The last walkthrough I did wasn't as thorough as I'd like, and frankly I've gotten quite a bit better gear for recording since then. So let's get started. So recently the game room has started to spill out to the hallway that precedes it. I really enjoy collecting these nylon banners from the 90s, and they're really, really long. They're beautiful, but they take up so much space. So in order to conserve space in the actual game room, I've decided to move some of them out into the hallway as you approach the game room. So we have the Mario Mania banner here, as well as the Mortal Kombat and Star Fox launch banners. The Star Fox launch banner also, of course, doubled as the competition banner when the Star Fox competition was going on. So as we move further down the hallway, past my wife's craft room, my daughter's room, our bedroom, just before getting to the game room, you can see on the left there the Stunt Race FX nylon banner for the launch of that game, as well as the Ken Griffey Jr. banner. So now we move into the actual game room. I love the little touches of this room that really kind of sell it as a store, like the employees only sign from Blockbuster, as well as an open sign. I'll show you a little bit more in a minute. Here in the doorway we have an artist print of Mega Man 2's cover, as well as a Captain N animation cell, and an authentic autograph of Shigeru Miyamoto. So here as we enter the first part of the game room, you'll probably notice that the game room is also the master bedroom of the house, so it has an attached bathroom. So in the bathroom portion, we have this awesome Pepsi promotional poster from, I want to say, 1992. Above there is some autographs from The Last Starfighter and the host of Nick Arcade. As we go further down this wall, you'll see this awesome Yar's Revenge piece that's been signed by Howard Warsaw. I got this signed at Portland last year. Howard's a great guy, and he was happy to sign it. Hi there. There I am. This is another awesome poster that I love. It's a launch poster from Sonic & Knuckles. I've never seen another one. This was just a very lucky find at a local game store. I just walked in and they're like, hey, you like posters? Here's a thing. So here's a Half-Life Dreamcast poster. As you probably know, Half-Life never came out on the Dreamcast. Got real close. You can actually play a build of it, but it never came out. There's a restroom sign from Blockbuster, and then as we go down here, these are ticket envelopes from Toys R Us. I am looking for some tickets, so if you do find any, let me know. I will buy them from you. On the other side of the entryway, this is the Tengen Tetris print from the cover for that game, as well as an old Levi's promotional poster. I love that poster. It's probably the most 90s thing ever to 90s. Panning up, you'll see a vintage Super Nintendo Entertainment System sign, as well as my hat collection. Most of these are new old stock that I acquired from a former Nintendo employee. Some of them I bought individually, like the Star Fox Kellogg's hat, but a lot of these came from a single source. Some of them even say sample on the inside of them. So a lot of them are the cleanest examples of these hats that I've ever seen. Like that Illusion of Gaia one at the bottom, I've never seen another one before outside of the picture in the catalog. Here's the first big shelf you'll see tonight. Above there is a Super Nintendo launch banner. It's gigantic. It's like 6 feet long. There's an Odyssey 2 up there, Samba de Amigo Maracas, House of the Dead 2 bundle. But the big things on here are my N64 complete loose set, my Dreamcast complete CIC set, and my complete Odyssey 2 set. So this kind of goes to show that you can still be a set collector with not a lot of room if you pick your sets wisely, because there's 3 sets on a single shelf. Above here is my Blockbuster open sign. You don't realize that it's a Blockbuster sign from the front until you look at it from the rear and you see these "Thank you for shopping at Blockbuster." I bought this sign when people started to say my game room looked like a game store, and I really wanted to sell in on that. There's a Super Mario RPG vinyl banner, a Vectrex, which I forgot to turn on for this video, broke my heart, an Xbox Live Neon, and a Virtual Boy. This is one half of the Xbox, original Xbox complete library. Down at the bottom there is a basket of LCD games. It's actually a Toys R Us basket of LCD games, as well as Steel Battalion and a couple other LCD games. Here are the two arcades in the room, my Killer Instinct and my PlayChoice 10. I did end up moving out my Mortal Kombat 2 machine, even though they look great side by side with each other, the Killer Instinct and the Mortal Kombat 2. I just decided I needed the room. Here is a PlayStation Neon. I love this Neon. It broke in shipping. It was expensive to fix, but I got it done. This back here is a sort of a catch-all shelf for PlayStation. So you have PS1, PS1 long box, PS3, PS4. A lot of my limited run games are here down at the bottom. Vita, PSP. So yeah, pretty much the entire I'm not a big collector of PlayStation, but all of it's there. These are my buttons. I put them on spare convention lanyards. All of these are actual vintage buttons. I love specifically the lenticular Ask Me About series. There's quite a few of them. They're gigantic and they're very, very cool. Next to that is my corkboard that I keep all my pins on. I have pins from all sorts of things, but the biggest chunk of cool vintage game buttons is right there, or vintage game pins. Here is the second half of the original Xbox set. So between this shelf and the previous shelf, this is the entirety of the North American original Xbox set. Aside from Platinum Hits, which are on another shelf in the room. This is my big bag of Game Boy. I don't have a really great place to put my Game Boy stuff right now, so it sits in that bag. There's my Nintendo Neon. It's also been broken and repaired. Here is another catch-all shelf. This has Switch games and 360 games and Sega CD games. Basically everything that I'm not getting sets for right now is housed here. This is also one of the only places in the game room where I have extra space. Continuing on here, we have one of my favorite framed pieces that I don't currently have up on my wall, and that is a flat-packed Super Nintendo box that's never been folded. Behind here in the Game Boy cabinet, we have some big box Xbox stuff, as well as my EverQuest collection and my Realm source code discs. EverQuest and the Realm are two of my very favorite MMOs. Here we have the fabled Power Glove fiber optic sign. To our knowledge, there are two of these in existence, as well as a smaller third one. But these were made for CES 1990 for the Mattel booth. Here, zooming out, I'm going to give you a long shot of the three World of Nintendo cabinets. This houses the NES set, some of my heavy hitter stuff, as well as some of my Nintendo employee items. I'm not going to get too heavy into that stuff because I want to do dedicated videos on them, but here's a 20-year employee incentive trophy, or an employee service award rather, and so when you have worked at Nintendo for 20 years, you get one of those. Zooming out here, you will see half of the complete NES set. Most of my NES set is cart only. I made this decision when I was first starting out to get the games that I cared about the games that I cared about complete in box, and the rest could be cart only. This is the beautiful 6-foot KB World of Nintendo fiber optic sign. I have a big nostalgic connection to KB toys. This is the not only the other half of the NES set, but also houses my gameplay counselor binders, my Nintendo counselor library carts, as well as my quote-unquote fire shelf. So this is the big shelf. This is the shelf where if my house was burning down, I would save this shelf on the way out. So you'll see things like stadium events, my Dragon Warrior 4 prototype, my Nintendo World Championships cart, a sealed copy of Star Fox, an Atari landfill cartridge, as well as some graded WATA competition cartridges. I see a copy of Shantae up there. Just a lot of the stuff that I really would have trouble replacing if I needed to, if I needed to at some point. There are those gameplay counselor binders again. I'm going to do a dedicated video on those. I already have done a dedicated videos on these Nintendo library carts, so you should check that out if you're interested. That's also a Power Glove back there in that big black box. And N64 LED, or an N64 fiber optic sign at the top. This is my Lost Vikings, which is one of my favorite games, Blizzard employee statue. as well as the Game Boy fiber optic sign, a Super Nintendo employee sipper cup, and a lane marker from Toys R Us. So they'd be above shopping lane number 9. There's a Minoru Arakawa head back there from his retirement party, as well as this Mario Mania mobile, which when I bought it was new in box, and so I got to unpack it and put it together. It was really, really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. Here is the trophy case. So you'll see some Mario internal trophies, a genuine Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award, which I've done a video on. That's another Gameplay Counselor Award there, as well as a second Mario trophy. It's also a 15-year service award in the back. These are my babies of the entire collection. These are my Gameplay Counselor jackets. I love them very, very much. I'm going to do a dedicated video on them at some point here soon. You'll also be able to see these at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2019 at the end of the year, so look out for that. So here we have kind of another catch-all shelf, but there's some really cool stuff here. A Nintendo Ultra Hand, which was an early Gunpei Yokoi toy, a Sonic and Knuckles standee, a NES signed by Minoru Arakawa, who was the founding president of Nintendo of America. Here's a Howard Lincoln mock baseball trading card, and a paperweight commemorating the 100 millionth Game Boy sold. There's that Minoru Arakawa signed NES that I was just talking about. I love that piece so much. Here's just some plushies. Again, this is a catch-all shelf, so you get some weird stuff. Some more, random knickknacks, but there's my Earthbound and my Stack Up back there, so those are of note. Some limited run stuff. The big box limited run, I'm honestly running out of space to put them, so they get kind of jammed in. In those black baskets, those are things like controllers, batteries, that kind of thing. This is an E3 Killer Instinct employee leather jacket, along with a Nintendo Power hat, but that's actually a promotional version, so it's a little bit different than what we got in Nintendo Power. Here is my half of my Super Nintendo loose set. Again, same rules as my NES set. My Super Nintendo set, I have the stuff that I cared about as a kid, CIB, and then the rest I have loose. Swinging around here, I wanted to point this out because this is actually a preliminary sketch for the cover for one of the EverQuest expansions. I really, really enjoy EverQuest, and I love that expansion, Shards of Velius. Scars of Velius? Scars of Velius. Some miscellaneous big box stuff, Capcom Fighter joystick. This is my Sega Saturn collection, so I don't have a full set yet. I'm about 70 games away, but that's actually kind of a fair bit with Saturn, because it still represents like something like $6,000 or $8,000. Don't collect Saturn, kids. Here's the other half of my Super Nintendo set, again, loose set, with some other things like reproduction cartridges. Not reproduction, but like fan translation cartridges and stuff. And a couple boxed Super Nintendos. That sports set there is actually really difficult to find. Some more knick-knacky big box stuff, as well as sort of a catch-all CIB shelf with my NES CIB stuff, as well as some Super Famicom, Master System, Game Gear. Here's those platinum hit Xbox games that I was talking about. Some Atari 2600 is up there. Just sort of, again, sort of a catch-all CIB shelf. Up there, let's see if I can actually get, I think I walk in to try to get a better picture of it, but that is a complete Sega Pico set in box. There we go, there's the light. As well as a vintage Sega sign, and then a couple of sets here. Here is a CIC complete set of TurboGrafx Hue card. Not all the CD. That's something that's probably not going to be in my future. That's just a big undertaking I'm not particularly crazy about, but there's some CD stuff there, though. Under that, though, probably the set that I'm most known for is my complete US 3DO set. So here is every North American 3DO game in the box. And it's probably my favorite set. Not the biggest set, obviously, or the most expensive, but by far the most difficult. Wheeling around here, we have a couple more neons for the Xbox 360 and the Nintendo DS, but the big thing here is obviously my complete Sega Genesis set. So this is a full North American Sega Genesis set. I am missing a few manuals, not too many, not enough that I'm worried about. This also includes all the major variants, so all of the cardboard and clamshell variants of games are included in this set. So that's actually a pretty new occurrence. That took me a little while to do. There's the famed Outback Joey personal heartbeat trainer, as well as some Sega Genesis mail-away speakers. Here's the third set. The Sega Genesis set, when it's in box, is pretty big because those boxes are pretty thick. So, but yeah, so this is the entirety of the North American Sega Genesis set. Swinging around now to the last leg of this tour, this little stand is where I do all my podcasting from. So if you listen to the Collector's Quest podcast, which you should, then that's where I do my podcasting. This is my Funko Land Neon, one of my favorite neons in the collection, as well as my CIB Super Nintendo wall. This is another rare spot in the game room where I actually have a little bit of room to grow. This is my Chrono Trigger Forest Scene Perler bead art. There's about 77,000 beads in that piece that I had commissioned. And here's where I play all my games. So left to right, you've got a Sony BVM and then an LG flat screen and an NEC, effectively an NEC PVM on the right there. There is my E.T. Mobile, again signed by Howard Scott Warsaw. Again, such a great guy. A small Blockbuster sign, the Alexa that controls the room, and a Metroid Deke prototype art piece that I actually did a video on recently as well. Here are some achievement badges for early Atari games. I just thought they looked really cool on the storage box for the NEC PVM. Up here is my Hydra SCART switch, which is sort of the brain that controls my entire AV setup here. And then we will circle back around to the center of the game room. That will just about do it for the tour. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. So that about does it for the tour. As usual, if you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments if you saw anything that you'd like more information on that I just didn't get to, or something that you feel like I've missed. Of course, since you're the one watching it, I want to make sure to show you the things that you want to see. Thank you again, everyone. I'll see you next time.